Hey y'all. So I finally found this little tripod thingy so that I could set my phone up in the car and I ain't gotta be holding it. I also need to turn the gimbal protection off of my car so that when my camera does hit, it doesn't flip. But maybe it won't because it's like anchored down. But yay, I want to let y'all know that. Also, I am sick, but I'm feeling a lot better. So I definitely will not. Well, I am gonna work out Thursday, but that's just with my trainer. I had texted him at like 2:30 in the morning. I think he felt bad for me. Um, so he was like, if I reschedule, so I reschedule so I wouldn't have like a cancel fee. It's not like a fee, but I guess if you cancel, you don't get to make up the session. So, yeah. But nevertheless, I feel better than I did yesterday. I am actually, oh, the people are outside, y'all. I'm obsessed with these people's garden that is outside. That's in my neighborhood. And I keep saying that I'm going to stop and say hello, but I can't do it today because I have to go to the post office and I'm going to pick up little man. So y'all will more than likely get this video before I explain, um, before I talk about the next video. I'll probably be able to link it or whatever, but basically, we took Liam to get diagnostic testing, and people just be driving any old kind of way. And so we took him to get diagnostic testing for just a multitude of things that could be going on with him. My main concern was autism. So Liam has been, well, okay, he was in early intervention. I want to say he was like one going on two. Like, when I say one going on two, I mean he was turning two in like 2 months, okay? And so there was a wait list, of course, and I began to pray. I began to just like petition the Lord because I was like, something got to give. And so got we got in person developmental, in person OT, and then in person nutrition. And at the time, he was still in daycare. So nutrition was going to the daycare. OT was coming to the house, and developmental was coming to the house because he didn't go to daycare full time. Couldn't afford that. He only went 3 days a week, and that was expensive. But so it worked out. But his OT actually saw kids at the daycare as well, so she was still like checking in on him and stuff. Okay. Um. So he also got speech. That was my main concern. I ain't know nothing else about nothing. Okay. I was like, oh, okay. And that's when I found out he had like sensory challenges. So they began working through that, and everything. And one thing I am grateful for is that three out of, wait, developmental speech, OTS, 3 out of 4 of his therapists were Black women. And I appreciated that because they saw something different in him, right? They weren't quick to just be like, label him. They were like, no, we're going to work with him, especially his developmental therapist. She was like, our last session, she was like, I'm talking to y'all as an auntie, okay? And she was speaking to me and my husband. And she was like, this is auntie. And so I appreciated her for that because it helped. And her and my mom actually stayed in contact because they live by each other. I don't know if they're still in contact, but I probably will reach out to her to just like let her know how Liam is doing. But nevertheless, he had my main concern was speech. So originally he had a speech therapist that was on Zoom. A 2-year-old doing virtual speech did nothing. And I didn't like the speech therapist because she was like, oh, well, just put him in the chair. Like, she wanted me to strap my baby to his little table and chair set so he could sit down and pay attention. He's 2. He already can't really focus for long periods of time. Like, it was stupid. So I talked to my caseworker and I was like, girl, we got to do something different. And so she was like, okay. So I just began to pray again. And the speech therapist that he got, she was telling me, she's a believer as well. And she was telling me that when she got his case, she said she heard the Lord tell her, don't turn him away. Sorry, y'all. She heard the Lord tell him, told her, don't turn him away. So she was like, okay. And she said she prayed over all her caseloads. So when she and I got a chance to talk, that's how it came up. I was like, I was praying for it in person and, blah, blah, blah. And so because this is how prayer works, you just never know. Because of her obedience, because of my willingness to petition the Lord, she was not only able to see my child, she was able to see 1 or 2 other children. So at the daycare across the street from where my mom lives. So I was like, God is good. And so she would, we told her, like, you can leave your car in the driveway. It's literally across the street. So she would leave her car in the driveway and walk across or whatever. Or if she needed, if she got finished with Liam early, we would just sit and talk until it was time. But nevertheless, he made so much progress. She was telling me how so many parents are in denial about their child and how they would like curse her out. And this was the sweetest lady, y'all. She was so sweet. And she told us how when she would go into like predominantly black neighborhoods, for lack of a better word, going into the hood, okay? She said the way she was dressed like a social worker. So everybody would get defensive because they're like, oh, you're not taking no kids from around here. And so she would have to tell them like, no, I'm a speech therapist. So she almost had to like become trusted by people that watch the block. And this was in DC. This is in East Coast. On the East Coast. I don't remember specifically it was DC, but on the East Coast. Yeah, I'm not taking y'all with me, so I'll be back. Woo, child. So I'm glad that my experience was pleasurable inside the post office, because sometimes the girlies be having an attitude, but it's usually the older ones. The younger people be cool. But anyways, and I had to get like a cough drop or a throat drop because I was struggling. And I remember last time I was sick, y'all. Yeah, I ain't had nothing with me. I was fighting for my life, okay? I was like, oh my God, I ain't got no water, nothing. So anyways, so yeah, so the speech therapist was saying how she heard the Lord and I was praying and yeah, all of that. So Liam did very well. I don't know if I left off on the part where the lady wanted, oh, I think I told you how the first speech therapist talking about put him in a chair and all that. Girl, please. So he continued services. So at the age of 3, they actually age out of the program, which means that they get moved on to something else. Like, I don't even know what it's called, but I was like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? He's doing so well. So I had to actually take him out of daycare. So I had to actually take him out of daycare in order for him to still receive services, okay? Granted, I could have paid for services, but baby, I pay taxes. Whatever y'all giving me, I'm going to take. So he actually had to end up going to public school in order to still receive services, which meant that had to take whatever time frame they had for school. Whatever. It ended up working out. So I love his school. Um, I have my gripes with things, but it is what it is. Long story short, at the end of the first year that he was there, I was just telling them how, like, I'm gonna get him tested, blah blah blah. So one of the paraprofessionals was like, do it, and I was telling her, well, she actually told me where to go. And so I was like, okay, cool. Well, y'all, how about they don't take my husband's insurance? And so he has the kids on his insurance and I just have me. But because they don't take his insurance, we actually had to pay full price out of pocket. Well, when Liam's name got picked, because it was a waiting list again, when Liam's name got picked, we didn't have the money. And we didn't know that we could use the FSA card, okay? And so we was like, okay, well, we don't have it. They was like, yeah, we don't do payment plans anymore. And I'm like, what? Because we was like, hey, can we pay in full? Or can we do a payment plan? And like, nah, it got to be paid in full before they even confirm the schedule. So I said all that to say, I was like, okay, Lord, it must not be time, because if it was, you would have made it so. So we was like, okay, just put us back on the wait list and we'll just have to save up for, the fee. Well, we didn't know how long it was going to be. Liam he got called back sooner than we thought. So I told my husband, I said, ask them, do they take the FSA card? Because we're pretty much private paying, what do you call it, patient. And so he asked, they were like, oh yeah, we take it. Y'all, my husband had the amount needed on the card. So I was like, it's time. Now, granted, there were some other things that he needed to do, like the teenager needs braces, but I'm like, she's not getting braces now because she needs too much dental work done in order before she gets the braces. So I'm like, nah, we need to get him seen first. So he agreed or whatever. And so there are 4 appointments. Now, every center is different, but what's not different is the type of provider that you have to see. You have to see a Psych D, I think it is, and they have to be like pediatric. Well, apparently, they're not a lot around, which is why the wait lists are so long. And I'm like, we actually did try to find somebody within network. I'm talking about, I had a list, two sheets of paper, called everybody. Either they were closed due to something with Medicaid, they were no longer in network. They were like, I don't even know how you got our number. We're in California. What? So I was like, we have to go with this option. It wasn't no choice. So we did the first appointment, which was like the parent intake. We did the second appointment, which was like cognitive and language, I think they said. And then how they explained it to us, if they felt like we needed the third appointment, we would do it. Guess they felt like we needed it. So we did the third appointment, which was autism. And then a fourth appointment is the actual like findings, diagnoses, all that. So in the next video is when I will talk about the appointment, kind of tell you guys like what they did. So I did not vlog the first appointment. Oh, and let me say this. Each appointment was like 2 hours. Allotted for 2 hours. Depending on the child. First appointment was a little over 2 hours. The second appointment, which is what y'all gonna see in the next video, under 2 hours, and I will explain why. So if y'all have questions about autism diagnosis, again, by the time when y'all see this video, we won't have a diagnosis. I'm hoping to get the other video out before the next appointment. um but yeah, it's more than just autism. It's ADD, ADHD, sensory disorder. Excuse me. There's something called ODD, and it's like something defiance disorder. And his behavioral therapist told me about that. Because I'm like, Liam's tantrums are not normal tantrums, and when it comes to authority, he just be like, I don't care. So there's something called ODD, but they don't have official diagnosis for it. And so I'm guessing they don't have a code for it. So that's why it's not official yet. But my mom's best friend had told me about that too. Where it's almost like they don't respect authority, which I think can be said for a lot of youth and people in general, which is probably why we have so many issues. They probably need to be diagnosed. But I said all this to say, if y'all have questions about early intervention, I can answer those. And then I can answer maybe like the process. So I'm in Illinois, so I can go only based off what, my experience is, or is and was. Maybe like signs, symptoms. Y'all probably wondering like what made you want to do it. But let me tell y'all something. A mother knows. A mother knows. I knew at 1. I said something is different. He's not speaking a lot. And so that's when I just thought it was speech. I just thought he was a picky eater. No. A lot of his eating has to do with sensory. So he like really crunchy foods. I've noticed that since he's been in therapy, he does not it does not need to be really crunchy. For a while, my kid was surviving off of dang near burnt chicken fries and tortilla chips. Kid y'all not. Kid y'all not. Now, when he was an infant, I said up to toddler, he would eat anything. He even ate salad. He would eat anything, oatmeal. But I saw a bit of regression happen at like 15 months. So you have a 12-month visit, and I think if they have no concern, they skip the 15-month visit and go to 18. It's something. It's like a gap. And during that gap is when I noticed things. He was babbling and oohing and eyeing all of that, dad, all that by 5 months. Like I just saw like I'm like, hold on. I'm noticing some things. I'm noticing he's toe walking. I'm noticing just little things where I'm like, something ain't right. But I didn't want to jump to any conclusions, which is why I was telling my manager about it, and she is the one who told me about early intervention. And they were like, what's your concern? So I was like, speech. So I'll say this. Okay, y'all, my camera overheated, so I gotta make this quick. But I don't even know where I left off. Oh, like signs and symptoms and different things. So I was just noticing things. And I was like, okay, so they did tell me that they weren't gonna automatically jump to autism because a lot of kids were having speech issues, and it could have just been that. So just because they have a speech delay does not mean that they're autistic, off the bat. It is a symptom, a sign, whatever. But there are other things as well, y'all. Whole camera. There are other things as well, okay? So don't listen to this and be like, oh my gosh, like, no, there are other things. That's why you have to go through testing. And then, autism is a spectrum. So there are just a number of things, but I just know for sure that the interventions that my child has, the therapies that he has tremendously helped him. He's 4, and his language, like we went to get ice cream last year, and it was a customer in there. She's like, oh my gosh, he's so articulate. And I'm just like, it warmed my heart because I'm like, he's like, he has a speech delay. And they're like, what? And yeah. So I just want to, so you're just gonna run a stop sign, Joe. So I just want to let y'all know that if you feel something, talk to your provider. I kind of went over my provider's head. I wasn't waiting. I was like, I called the place, the early intervention place, like, yo, boop, boop, boop. And then I told my doctor, because I'm not gonna wait. They were like, oh yeah. I'm not gonna wait. So yeah, so hopefully I'll have the next video up where I can go into more detail. And hopefully I won't be sick. So yeah, hopefully my voice comes back. Yeah, I was literally fighting for my life. So I'm glad my camera overheated, because the coughing and it just sucks. But anyway, y'all know what to do. Like, subscribe, share, follow for more, and drop y'all questions if y'all have any, or if you've been through the process before. I think as a community, we need to start being more vocal. And I'm proud to be a millennial because we advocate for our children, we advocate for therapy, we advocate for all the things that we need to be advocating for. So I'm not ashamed at all. Okay. I just want us to not be shamed. I want us to get the help, especially because early intervention starts from 0 to 3 and it's no cost. I was worried it was going to be a cost, but they were like, oh no, like, perfect. And even if it was a cost, we was going to pay it, because at the end of the day, I was like, I'm about to sell my wigs or something, figure out how to get this money. My baby needs speech. Like, I was going to figure it out. Like, I'm not even joking with y'all. I was like, I'm about to sell my wigs. I'm about to get another job, like something. Because these therapies are expensive. So, yeah, like ABA therapy, I looked it up. Out of pocket, it was like $150, $200 a session. You gotta figure if your kid needs 2 or 3 sessions. You know, everybody can't afford that. Even people that's working that probably can't afford it. Like, it's wild out here in these streets. All right, y'all. I'm about to pick up the kid from camp, and I will see y'all in the next video.